Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Talking Busch. I'm your host, Dave Pikus. We are in the South Minneapolis studios this afternoon, talking football, talking beers, talking babes, maybe a little bit.
Hey, maybe. It was a big weekend.
Huge weekend for the babes, and we'll bring it all to you in a little less than an hour.
Was it huge for them?
Yeah, I would say yeah. Girthy, round. You get it. Always in studio with me, we have Matty Train. Matty Train, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Off of a fantastic weekend in Nebraska, not so good football-wise, but all else was great. So
Wonderful. We got Derek Hartman also in studio. Teeth Man, what do you got?
I don't have a whole lot. Another week, ready to go.
Love it. Moving up in power rankings. He's enjoying the number one spot now in the junior division.
It's back to normal.
But coming to us live from Paynesville, Minnesota, his Paynesville, Minnesota studios, John the Beer Man. John, how you doing tonight?
Great to be back. Ready for tonight. It's exciting times.
You know, 3/4 of this quartet went on a little vacation this weekend down to Lincoln, Nebraska. Not a lot to talk about on the football front. We can get into the L-22 in a minute, but I want to hear a little bit about the trip, and I heard there was a little bit of beer drinking going on. John?
Yeah, we frequented a few spots. Two were okay. They had some good beers. They had some okay beers, and they had a few that we weren't all that particularly impressed with, but nonetheless, we went to one.
If I had a button board, I would say cool story, Hansel. Way to really explain this out. If you don't want to talk about it, we can move on to football.
You know me, I tell long-winded stories, I'm sorry. But we went to Boiler Brewing Company. It was delicious. It was a cool atmosphere, cool building.
Yep.
Shout out to our two bartenders, Becky and
Charlene. Yep.
Well,
Yep.
Becky was actually one's name. Charlene was a self-appointed
I'm
name.
pretty sure
I think Becky was also a fake name.
Okay, good.
Yes, Becky was fake.
Did you pick Becky or did she pick Becky?
I picked Becky. Did you see the look on her face when I called her Becky? She was not impressed at all.
Yeah, the second one wasn't very impressed with us in general.
No.
I don't think. She couldn't wait to get away from us.
Yes.
Yeah. We tried to be. I mean, I thought we were fun. Charlene had a great time with us.
Yeah.
Which poll question for the listeners: who would you rather listen to? Now, both are great.
Oh yeah.
But would you rather listen to Elton John or Billy Joel?
This was the barroom debate. Really?
100%.
Really?
Oh, you're totally out.
You were on the minority.
You're on Hartman's side, if that makes you feel any better.
Not at all.
and
I know why
It's because he pulls his pants down at Sal's and dances to Piano Man at night. That's the only reason he's saying that.
Nope.
That's the only reason you're saying that.
Oh, no. I just like his music better.
Because it's a Johnny anthem?
No, not at all.
All right.
I actually wasn't even thinking about that.
Liar.
But, I mean,
anyway.
Good for you. Good debate. So Boiler Brewing, great. What do we got? How many beers out of 5?
Well, I'm going to give you – well, I think we should go around and give our favorites. And I think Derek and I are tied on one. So, Derek, you can go ahead.
Sure. It was the bourbon German chocolate cake batter beer.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It was a bourbon aged or a bourbon barrel aged Russian Imperial Stout. It tasted like chocolate cake batter, and it was delicious.
Yep.
They had a handful of coffee beers that were good. Upside Down Hazy IPA was solid as well.
Yes.
Yeah, they had a good mix on tap that were all pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't – I don't think there was one where we were like, oh, God, this is bad. It was all pretty good.
Nice.
My favorite was actually Orange Cream Valencia Blonde. It's just a blonde ale.
You got a thing for blondes, huh?
Yeah, literally tasted like a creamsicle popsicle. It was awesome. So, Matt?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Clara's walking around in here.
Got it. Hi, Clara.
Yeah, the spot was good, though. Tailgating, pretty good. Not the most ruckus tailgating spot ever, but
No.
Windy.
It
was
was
windy.
It was windy. Very, very windy.
Yep.
Windy.
We did okay with it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Fought through it. Had to make some adjustments.
On the fly.
Yep.
Love
Good.
it. That's what good tailgating's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But Grillmaster John cooked us up a couple delicious meals.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
We were told that the main party was at the bar, and that's where all the college girls get down. So
You guys stayed the hell away from there.
yeah, it was a family atmosphere at the tailgate. God, the people that we talked to could not have hardly been nicer people.
Oh, just in general.
Yeah,
Even at the game.
we got hazed one time by one guy passing by, and then everybody apologized to us after
Nice.
we did it.
Yep,
Love that.
about 10 apologies, including like the 10-year-old in front of me.
Yeah.
We're sorry
Which-
for him.
Yeah, which
That's-
Derek and this 10-year-old were just on the same wavelength. Like, they were negative. Everything, the world was ending.
Yeah, pretty much.
Minnesota's world was ending, and in his eyes, Nebraska's world was ending. Like, they were a perfect. It was fun to watch those two interact, just with statistics.
He was probably
and all
myself when I
22.
was 10.
Yeah.
You know?
Captain Negative and
probably.
nobody to be positive there. So
Yeah, you know.
The AFF over here on my left. So
Oh, it's gonna hit the fan in that respect once we start talking X's and O's.
Yeah,
I
'cause
did
there
an
was
all
a couple
22
times.
again last night. So I'm ready and willing to talk X's and O's if you're ready.
Let's do it.
Oh, you're ready to just fondle PJ's balls, is what
No.
you're ready to do.
No. I was the most down I've ever been after a football game on Saturday afternoon.
Go
Now
on.
I drank about 15 White Claws after that and got my spirits back up. And but rewatched the game like I said yesterday, and my takeaways from it were that our offense, when we make a mistake, we get down for like the next 2 possessions, and I don't know if that's a coaching thing that the plays just
They
aren't
go a
great
little
calls,
conservative or
yeah, we get gun shy, and Zach Annexstad needs to stop just going for the home run every time when there's guys open.
Yeah, there were.
And he's pulling a early Mitch where he's locking on before. And I'm cool with the Tyler Johnson crossing routes.
Mm-hmm.
Those are design plays to do that. But when we're throwing it on those deep passes, there's guys that are open that he needs to just check down to and see it.
There was a lot of dependence on just 3 steps back and then throw it down the sideline and hope something good happens.
Yep. That being said, the second half with Tanner Morgan, we called a better game. I thought in the second half we made a few adjustments. We were able to get the run going. to open
It
up the
helped
pass.
that the quarterback could run.
Yeah.
You know, it opened stuff up. Clearly, Nebraska didn't game plan for that.
No.
But for me, it's hard to come away from that game and even talk about the offense because there are bigger issues at hand, and it is with your upperclassmen defensive players.
But if you actually rewatch the game, the main takeaway on defense was not their inability to set the edge. And what was happening, if I had a telestrator, I'd show you.
John Madden, boom!
Literally what was happening was they were putting a guy out in the right, call it a Z out on the right. They bring him in motion, and our cornerback would come in and play a monster position that was so easy to just get pushed into the mix, and then not keeping your head up when you're flowing to the ball and running into our own guys. That's football 101, that you just got to watch what you're doing and, get around and flow to the ball. Now, that being said, our safeties are fucking terrible. And
Awful.
That's terrible.
the fact that they can't flow to the ball / they were getting sucked into the tackle or the guard that was blocking the linebacker was pushing that linebacker far enough back that it was causing the safety to not be able to get around. And that's still high school football shit where sit back, every one of their steps was forward, and they were playing so close up that they were ineffective.
You're in some sense you're right, but if they're getting to the safety, that's a 15-yard run. That's still a huge issue.
Yeah, but to get you there is what they. I mean, I told you how they were getting this. They were coming around the corner, and we had nobody because Carter takes the inside approach every time, and so he was just getting blocked down. Linebacker was coming up and getting shit on, and that cornerback didn't know what they were doing.
Is this a coaching issue? Is it fixable?
That's what I was just going to say. Okay, fixable, but it sounds like
this has happened multiple games now this season.
Let's not forget about the bad angles that everybody was taking.
Well, that's the
just,
safeties.
Yeah.
God awful.
It's still, those are horrible angles. Horrible, and that's not, I mean, those are coachable, but they're also common sense, too. Like, hey, don't come running up. You're the last line of defense.
It goes into the mix that these guys are also not wrapping and tackling. They're just trying to make a hit, and our guys are too small.
I don't know. Major issues.
Yeah, it was just very. I mean, the game was fun. It was horrible in the first half. Luckily, they made it fun for us in the second half.
Yeah, the third quarter was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got to rib the Nebraska fans a little bit. They were ribbing us. It was good, but yeah, there's some serious issues.
We were moving the ball pretty well in the first quarter.
We were,
and
then we got really conservative.
Yep.
But
then Zach was short arming every. So if he is going to take 3 steps and just throw it up, okay, fine, but get it out there. My God, he was underthrowing Bateman. He was underthrowing who's number 3?
Chris Autumn Bell.
Yeah, I mean, they were like, he's lucky they didn't get picked off. A couple of times they should have been. So if he's gonna,
those were the same throws that were picked off in Ohio State the week before.
Right.
So
Yep.
That's him making that decision that Bateman or Autumn Bell can beat the one-on-one coverage, and he's sailing it high enough up there that the safety can come over and make a play.
Right.
Yep.
So
Somewhere in the middle.
That's fixable.
It's first team all state. I can put the ball wherever I want to. I'll make it rain out here.
So
I don't know about that.
So coming from the AFF corner, here's my issue.
Right.
You gave up 650 yards and 53 points to an 0-6 team, and it was for that to happen. It wasn't because you couldn't set the edge. You have to get. That's not a good football team. It's not a good football team. And I don't care how young you are. I don't care if you're New London Spicer High School or
their defense is
Luther
not
football.
young.
Whatever.
Right.
And they've got and they lost some senior leadership with scandals and all that stuff. I understand. And their best defensive player is also out. Yeah, they lost some of their. They've lost quite a few secondary players over the last couple of years. But like I said, I don't care how young you are. This is Big Ten football, and when you're playing an 0-6 team, that kind of thing is understandable if you do that against Michigan or you do that against Ohio State. You give up 653 yards and 53 points to an 0-6 team. I don't give a shit how young you are.
This 0-6 team has produced offense all but one of their games.
I don't care. I don't
care. How
do
you not care? They're a decent team.
But they're how are they a decent
just
team?
Just because they're 0-6 because they lost on a last-second field goal to Northwestern. They put up 24 against one of the best defenses in the country, or preseason was in Wisconsin. 28 points against Purdue, who just kicked the shit out of Ohio State.
Okay, fine. I'll even grant you the fact that they were 4-point favorites in this game. Fine. But you lost by 30 points. And you gave up 650 yards of offense in a Big Ten football game. I mean, you 350 yards of rushing. You didn't stop anyone all day long. And I don't care how young you are, that is not acceptable. You know what I mean? And the spectrum of what you can expect to have from a team that's that young, understanding that the tall point of the bell curve is towards the lower end. The result of this game was very near the absolute bottom. I mean, this is way towards the bottom of the bell curve, way below what you would expect to be average. It was a terrible performance. And you can't just keep coming back and saying, we're young and it's not fair to rip on us. Bullshit. You got to play.
He didn't say that this time. He didn't.
I got text messages all afternoon about all he did was play the youth card again.
No,
I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it, but this is what I was told.
No.
What did he say?
find the quote. Just hold on. I can't remember if Ryan Burns posted it or if Phil Mackey did.
I bet it was very critical.
Scoggins posted it. Chip Scoggins did.
Yep.
Hold on.
The AFF Blue Checkmark Brigade coming out now too. Want to bring up the Royce quotes from Sunday, or do you want to do anything else with the AFF? Yeah, it's bad that we gave up that many points. The momentum shifted in college football, which that's a huge player. If we would have scored on that first drive, that would have been a completely different football game. We would have scored on that second drive instead of stalled out.
Here is from
Same
Chip.
thing would have happened.
Hit it, John.
Hey. Whoa. What happened, guys?
That's on you, man.
Yeah, I don't know. You're zoomed into the top corner of your head.
Oh, well, you can still, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Give us the quote.
Okay.
We're super young at this FaceTiming stuff, so you got to give us a break here. You know, once we get a couple years in, we'll probably be better, but we got to get the right guys to do it.
Okay. All right. It wasn't about. I apologize. It wasn't about youth. Chip asked PJ if he had confidence in Rob Smith. I have 100%. I have 100% every single one of our coaches. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
we can hear you just fine.
Okay. Well, just close my face.
We're good now.
We got you.
Okay. Absolutely. I'm the one that knows all the internal things that we have to deal with every single day with what's the program looking like internally. When you're the youngest team in America and you think you're going to beat every team in the Big Ten and run the table, you guys picked us 12th out of 14 in the Big Ten. I understand exactly where we're at, and I also understand where we're going. There are so many things that are so positive that get lost in the big plays or that get given up. But no excuses. It's all on me. I make every decision to do it our way.
So where was the negative in that? Or where was the bloating?
He went back to the youngest team in America bit.
He did.
Again.
They literally are the youngest team in America.
You can't use that as an excuse for no matter how bad you lose.
The defense is not young. They started 10 upperclassmen.
Exactly.
He did. The question was, do you have confidence in Rob Smith?
Which yeah. Okay, so
He
I
has
have
to
have
answer
a canned
that.
answer.
And here's the other
And
part
that's
of
what
it.
he did.
Is he's also not going to come out and rip his players. I understand that.
Well,
Yep.
We got a touchdown call back on a fucking holding call.
But we're not talking
turned
about the
into
offense.
No, we're not. What, Dave? Should we have won? Is the argument here that we should have won 55-53?
No.
I mean, it's
You're ready to burn the whole fucking shed down and sell the
no,
program.
No.
And get a new coach and try to start this whole shit all over again.
No. See,
yes.
I didn't say that. I don't want Fleck fired.
You've been doing this the whole fucking time.
I don't want Fleck fired.
You're the king of the non-check mark anti-Fleck fuck.
What goodwill has Fleck earned?
Well, if he keeps coaching like this, Matt isn't going to have to keep calling for his head because he's just going to find his way out of town no matter what.
I don't know what coaching decisions he thought that he made wrong.
Well, that's the thing, though. If you're telling me, I mean, the things that we're talking about are, well, we're not setting the edge.
We
we're
couldn't
not
set the edge for 2 games?
I mean,
we got exploited on something that clearly is an issue.
And then they got exploited in the passing game against Iowa.
And against Ohio State.
So which is it? You're going to coach one and not the other next week? Like, hey, hello, come on.
The Ohio State game was
young and we're playing off receivers.
The defense isn't young. They're not.
I wish I had a tally. I should get a marker and tally every time Derek says that because it's at least been 7 times, and you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong at all.
I don't even want Fleck to be fired. I don't want anything like that. But I just think at some point, you can't always be defensive and about the fact that you got your ass kicked by a bad team.
What do you want him to say? We got our ass kicked by a bad team. Next question.
Well, and
I
it's
want him to say I suck at what I do. I'm positive.
and that is a valid point. The fact that he's not going to come out here and rip his players. He's not going to come out here and rip his coaches. And, the conversations that are being had behind closed doors are not necessarily reflective of what he's saying to the media. Totally understand that. I guess what I'm saying is that I hope that there is some feeling within the program that the effort that they put out last week, I don't care what the technical issues were, is not good enough.
Yeah.
No matter how
they
young
know
you
that.
are.
That's
No
what
matter
we
how
said it in that
young
quote.
you are.
I think it's okay as a fan to be frustrated, to be embarrassed by that performance. It was embarrassing.
But I think you also have to, if we're going to follow the culture, you have to be able to see some of the positives in that performance too.
I think the offense looks
Follow any
promising.
culture. Wins and losses. That's what it comes down to. Screw a culture. You got to put W's on the board. Sorry.
You're out of the boat. Borderline got an AFF attached onto your fucking face too. But let's get into some real football. We had
Yeah, I don't want Dave to be crabby anymore. Let's move on. Let's go to something happy.
Hey, the Vikings won.
Vikings did win. All right, let's start. Great Vikings game. My one takeaway is how do 6 Jets fans knock over charcoal grills to light 7 cars on fire?
I heard it was windy. I heard that bullshit excuse.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't even know how it's possible, but I love it. And hats off to the people who flew into, like, way outside New York and drove that rental car there and then didn't have a way to get back, and now we're going to have to pay that $500 deductible.
Yeah, that blows.
That was such
Classic. But let's get into some really great fantasy matchup. We had the Big Hoss defeated the Blame It on the Kombucha.
Oh, we're going to start with that one?
90.5 to 82.2. Drew had all the opportunities to get some guys that were going to play in, and he chose not to do that. And
yeah, I saw he left Melvin Gordon in. That was a big mistake.
Big mistake. And then to have Joe Mixon, who needed to score 15 points in that Sunday night game and to come up way short, makes Davey on a 3-game win streak. Cruising now, led by Tom Brady, TB12. We're crushing.
If crushing is 90 points, then sure.
Hey, enough to win when all my other guys were on bye.
The points scored this week were way lower than any other week so far.
Yes, they were.
And that was even with a 150-point.
You're welcome.
Yes.
It was actually the lowest all year.
Was by
quite a bit.
By a wide margin. And actually, if you look at the lowest score from every week, this week had the highest low score.
Correct.
But everybody scored 80 to 90 points.
A lot of buys this week, though.
Yeah, that's true. Buys playing a big part.
Then we had the 2 Gurleys, 1 Cup get back on the schneid after losing to the Big Hoss last week. 95.5 to 85.6 over the Breasted Plants Inc., a.k.a. Grieve Central, a.k.a. 3 Grieves, 1 Cup.
That doesn't make a lot of sense. The Dolls.
The Dolls.
Nobody knows them. Kind of just a ho-hum game. Saquon Barkley, 21.9 points. Jeff was a huge favorite, only won by 10.
Which he almost didn't if it wasn't for the second half.
True.
He was down by quite a bit yet.
Yep.
He got a decent game from Julio. Julio, his two guys that he got on trades, Julio and Matt Ryan, played okay. And he didn't miss out on a lot with Kamara. I mean, Kamara had a decent game. He had a touchdown.
Yep.
But if that's the way it's going to be every week, I think he'll be happy. I mean, he won't be any worse off.
Right.
I honestly think if it's going to be this close every week, we need to do regular welfare checks on him. Because I just don't think his health can handle it.
His little heart can't handle that?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Huh. Coming into Dilly Bar season, so he's a big DQ guy, so
Nice.
He is.
hopefully
He
that
is.
powers him through.
Mm-hmm.
We had the in-house game this week between Who's Your Daddy, who covered the 20.8 spread
Easily.
on the Lords, 153.7 to 110.6. Matt's back to just playing his 110 average, and just cannot catch a break.
Yep. The league average is 108 points. I've scored over 108 4 times, but I'm not doing it at the right times, unfortunately. So I haven't had big weeks either. I mean, I've 115 or 117 is my best. So
Derek was led by the Broncos D, 34 points, which makes Matt
that's
a
bullshit.
few bucks.
I mean, I get some money,
great.
so that's good. But
Well,
You know,
we'll
if
discuss-
the Broncos D didn't play, I still won the game.
It's
Right.
true.
yeah, that's true.
It's true. We'll talk on this in a minute, but what the Broncos D did was unbelievable. 2 touchdowns scored, 3 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries, 6 sacks, and 10 points allowed.
That first quarter in general, with 2 defensive touchdowns and Emmanuel Sanders throwing a touchdown.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But
ridiculous.
bad beats piling up for the trainster.
Yep.
So he's all right.
Take money any way I can get it at this point. Although, I'm only 2 games back, and I'm the only guy in the league that's more than 1 game back right now. Standings are extremely tight.
We're tight. We had the Soup du Jour land up on top. He was he wins 117.2 to 100.6 over Timmy Lang's Heartbreak Kids.
Thank God.
Tim Lang is he's just pulling the I mean he is rolling the Trevor motto this year. Just roller coaster
up, down.
every other week. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. The Soup had Kareem Hunt go off 34.6 points.
Yeah, big game for him.
Yeah, Hunt's looking good.
Yeah. You're utilizing him any which way they can too.
Yep. I like it when it's shovel passes. I'm not a huge fan when they just straight hand it off.
Yeah, they're throwing the ball to him quite a bit.
Did you see him roll off a couple tackles and then hurdle a guy like in the middle of the scrum?
Yeah.
Yep.
That was sweet.
Kareem Hunt is a very, very good player. Yes, he is molded into. He's getting better as the year goes on.
3 tutters. He was 15 for 86 yards on the ground, and he had caught 5 passes for 55 more yards.
Yep.
And 2 touchdowns off the pass.
Yeah, Trevor's got to be happy with him going forward. I know he was a little bit pissed off at the beginning of the year because Mahomes was throwing everything.
Yep.
But but it's looking good now. I mean, that Chiefs offense is legit.
We had a little matchup between the Heart Attack and the Jeff Bottom Grieve Top.
What was that again?
The Jeff Bottom Grieve Top was the big-time loser against the Heart Attack this week, 138.9 to 108.3. Todd Gurley, 28.6 points for the Heart Attack. I mean, he was 10.7-point favorites. Covered that spread, no problem. Who's going to slow him down?
Yeah, he just keeps putting up 130, 140 points. As long as he's got as long as Gurley and Thielen are playing like they are, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be really tough.
They're averaging like 4 touchdowns a game between the two of them.
I know.
Adam on the year averaging 128 points per game, and that all was basically from that average is down because of one low week.
Yep. Yeah, and that was the first week of the season.
Yep.
I updated the running back stats and posted to the website. Go check those out if you're interested in our running back discussion from last week. And Gurley, after a 3-touchdown performance, now on pace for 32 touchdowns. 3-2.
Wow.
Jeez.
Wow.
All right, in that last matchup, we had Team Aponte getting the win after a couple losses in a row, 94.3 over the Peppy Kids, 89.6. Not a lot to report from this matchup. Cam Newton, 25.7 points. It was an upset.
Yeah,
Peppy Kids
Phil was hot going in.
12.3-point favorites.
He lost Sony Michel.
That
early.
hurts.
But ODB stepping up.
Yep.
They're utilizing him a little more.
Yep.
If he could play with a better quarterback, I think he could get back to that dominant status. I just don't think Eli's got it in him to make those passes anymore.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Odell Beckham is probably the most physically gifted receiver in the NFL right now.
Were you watching NFL Countdown to the game last night where he went and gave Moss a moon while he was on the set?
No, I did
No.
not see
Paying
that.
paying homage to the great. So that was kind of fun. It was an interesting game last night to watch all around. I do think that Eli Manning maybe is going to be done after this year.
It sure looks like it.
Seems like he should be.
Yep.
He just doesn't have it anymore.
Most likely they're going to have a high draft pick, and they're drafting a quarterback.
Yep.
And there's no reason for him to be around anymore.
Mm-hmm. Total points scored this week for the Busch League. 1,267. That's the lowest in 2018. That's a 105.58 average. We had 5 teams above the average. The high this week was Derek at 153.7. The low was Drew at 82.2. That's terrible. Didn't seem like that was going to be happening. Like I said, Mixon just shit the bed on Sunday night. Top players this week, Patrick Mahomes, 32.8 points at quarterback. He was 28 of 39 for 358 yards. He threw for 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's one hell of a game.
Yeah, they keep rolling.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. It's getting to the point where they're maybe scarier than the Rams.
I think we're underestimating them still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems that way. Everyone just assumes that the AFC is weaker. And
right. I mean that the Patriots and the Chiefs are going to be on a collision to play each other in the AFC Championship game, and that's going to be fun.
And the Chargers with Gordon healthy, that's a damn good offense.
Yeah.
I mean, they can beat people too, so it's
right.
Yeah, they're going to be playing from the wild card slot.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
top running back this week, like we said, Kareem Hunt, 34.6 points. Top wide receiver was Emmanuel Sanders, 24.3 points. He was 1 for 1 passing, 28 yards and a tutter, and then 6 receptions for 100 yards and another touchdown. That's just so damn good. And just the bad beat cash just rolling into Trey's pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Top tight end this week was Trey Burton, 23.1 points.
Damn it.
That's terrible.
You had him, didn't you?
I did.
You sure did.
I needed roster spots because I had guys on bye. I had Jordan Reed and Trey Burton, and they were like 2 spots apart from each other. I kept Jordan Reed. He had 2 freaking catches.
Yep. Trey Burton, wonderful game.
Yep.
It was very Adam Thielen, like actually 9 receptions for 126 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah. My problem is I just refuse to believe in Trubisky. And so I just I don't want to have any players on the Bears, but they keep putting up points.
Sundays are for kissing titties, Matt.
Yeah.
You know that. Yeah. We all know that.
Trubisky was maybe not good for the game, but stat-wise, he was great again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
He's becoming a legitimate, viable starting quarterback in fantasy football. He might be the Blake Bortles, but he's start-worthy.
Yep. And I also Jordan Reed is a guy that, when he's healthy, he's in the top level of guys. Historically been that. And he got Alex Smith, who loves to throw to tight ends. I just couldn't have been more wrong, and I'm disappointed by my decision.
Yep.
I suck.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. Not great.
Give me the defense and Trey Burton. Then I could have won.
Perhaps.
Ooh.
Maybe.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
We'll see. Like we said, top defense was the Broncos. Just kick ass. I mean, why don't we just – the top performers were Derek's team.
I was the little team that could. I put up 110. I feel good about it.
You did, honestly.
Derek freaking dominated this week.
You could have, because I, for once this week, feel your pain. I could have beat 7 out of the 12 teams. You could have beaten 8 out of the 12 teams. We just had teams that were better than us this week.
Yep.
And it kind of sucks when you waste those good
Those
weeks.
Hartman squads are a legit foe. Not to be messed with
this year.
Much like the Chiefs and the Patriots, they are on a collision course. And when that happens, I don't know what's going to happen.
Look out.
It'll be fun to watch.
Man, why don't you give us a rundown of the top 5 in the power rankings this week?
Number 1, Adam Hartman continues to roll. I think 4 out of the last 5 weeks he's been second in overall points. The other week that he wasn't second, he was third or 4th. So he continues to absolutely roll. Derek Hartman with a big week, setting the high this week. Rolling with Alvin Kamara. The lineup looks solid. He's projected for 120 points this week. That's the highest projection we've had so far this year. Jeff comes in at number 3 and trending the wrong direction right now. He's averaging 125 points a game, and he hasn't scored over 110 in the last 4 weeks.
Correct.
Yep. So he dominated the first few weeks, and he's trying to get it figured out. Obviously, so with the lead in the
what's he doing to try to figure that out?
Well, he's making.
We're gonna get there in a second.
Trevor Sapir, another good week, averaging 109 a game. That Carroll division continues to look strong. Trevor looking good. And Phil Bastron coming in at number 5, came in with a lot of momentum. Tough week this week with Sony Michel going down. Lost Sony Michel after only 2 points, ended up losing by 4 or 5, I think. So you've kind of got a line in the sand after those guys, and Drew with a healthy Melvin Gordon maybe jumps that gap, but without Melvin Gordon, he's gonna be in tough shape.
Correct. We talked about it a little bit before. First kind of start of the bye weeks, the big bye weeks. Right here, a lot of transactions happening from last Thursday
Sure
on. 12 of them from Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was 14.
It was 14, yeah.
You go from Wednesday. I go from Thursday.
Oh,
Okay.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Jeff making a shit ton of roster moves, just feeding the pot.
It was
Love
essentially, if you look at them, he was rolling over 2 spots on his roster
Mm-hmm.
and just adding a guy and dropping him, and then adding a different guy and dropping a different guy,
Yep.
and then adding a different guy and dropping one of the guys that he just picked up.
Yep.
And then eventually he added Chris Godwin back,
Yeah.
changed his mind, wanted him back, and still got rid of him by the end of the week.
Something
It is phenomenal to just look at this.
Yeah, something to look forward to. Check the website, check the blog. We're gonna put a flow chart of Jeff's transactions from last week.
I like that. That could be a new segment.
Yeah, complete with player pictures and the flowing.
Some arrows and then arrowing back.
And then
Oh, yeah.
X's and then double X's. It'll be good.
It's crazy. The other big pickup this week, we just talked about Mitch Trubisky. Drew's added him to the roster on Friday.
I will say though, he landed on one that may be a good one with Howard in Oakland.
Drew's got his big bye week coming up though, so he's
Oh,
gonna
I
have to drop him for
was
roster.
sorry, I was going back
Jeff.
to Jeff.
Oh, for Jeff.
Yep.
Yeah, I was
Sorry.
going back to Jeff.
Yep.
No, I love it. I mean, adding Dak Prescott and dropping the Cowboys D was one of my favorites from last week for Jeff.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I had it right, I think only 5 guys made roster moves last week, which is kind of amazing. Thinking about all the buys,
All the
that were
buys,
going around.
yeah.
That's true.
7 people were confident in their squad.
Yeah.
So week 8 here is another week with a lot of buys. So get excited. I'm excited to see some moves.
I've got some moves
I
in
got
the hopper.
I got plenty of moves in the hopper as well. Got to be better. Then let's talk about the pick'em last week. Don't know if everybody's seen the results, but in last place was Derek and John at 3-3. Then was Matt at 4-2, and Dave Pikus at 5-1 on the week.
Oh, good for you.
Moves me in the first place tie with Derek. We're both at a 58.3% picking successful rate right now. Matt's at 50% and John's at 47.6%. Jeff, if he ever makes more picks again, is at 16.7%.
That's terrible.
But we got some new week. I mean, you guys just don't bet on winners, and I understand that. But we'll just hop in then.
It's a new week.
It is a new week.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna start here with maybe one of the best matchups in the Mankato division ever. We have the Lords at 2-5 taking on the Breast Implants. Matt is favored. What? Matt is favored. Can we get a check to see if Grieve has all his guys in?
I'm not sure Grieve's going to be favored the rest of the season.
Yeah. He is in the last place in the power rankings. He's been bottom 2 in scoring the last 3 weeks.
He's had your number though the last 9 matchups.
Well, yeah, I mean
4-5 against him in the last 9.
Well, that's true. He has won one
Yep.
more one more game. But I like the way my team is trending. Hopefully, I got a good one in Marlon Mack and John Brown.
Did not see that one coming.
Yep. John Brown continues to be the guy to own in Baltimore out of that entire offense, by the way. So I get some guys back. I feel comfortable.
You going, Matt?
Lord Kamish,
Okay.
dominating victory.
John, who do you got in the Commish versus the Dolls?
The Lord Kamish.
Love it.
You busy, John?
Yeah, I'm
You distracted?
Looking up what?
All right, meat sauce.
Don't worry about it.
I also take the Lord
Is
Commish
it
this
Porno?
week.
I love it. No explanation needed.
No.
I also think that Tim Grieve and the Dolls are they're not focused on fantasy football right now. They're focused on girls soccer. And so I'm going to go Lord Commish on this one as well. So, Drew, all of us picked the Lord Commish.
Just so we're clear.
Just so we're clear. All right, let's hop into
I bet I could put little cards in afterwards that pop up the logos.
Probably.
Yeah.
Let's go with the 5-2 Heart Attack versus the 4-3 Peppy Kids. We got Adam as a. Oh, this
It's
is now
a
pick 'em
pick'em.
with guys added in. We got a pick 'em here.
Despite the bad week last week, ESPN still loves Phil.
Yes, they do.
A lot, by a lot.
Yeah. However, I think I got to go with Adam. I mean, he's just been consistently good, and that's hard to pick against.
I just don't see him having a bad week this week. I think that Thielen's going to rip apart the Saints defense, and so I got to go Heart Attack.
When are the Rams on bye? It's not this week, is it?
No,
No.
they play Green Bay
Okay.
at home.
All right, I'm gonna take Hartman.
John?
Well, there's only one way I'm going to beat you assholes in this pick'em, so Phil.
All right, bold.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
All right, we have maybe the best Super Nintendo Bowl coming at us this week. We're getting your two games out of the way real fast. 2 weeks ago, Tim Lang beat John. Or no, John beat Tim.
Why are we playing again already? This is stupid.
This is the rivalry game that should be at the end of the year for John. But we have the Heartbreak Kid, Timmy Lang, as a... We'll call him a favorite. Oh,
John's
a favorite.
5-point favorite.
Wow.
And I don't have a wide receiver in yet.
We
that's
take account for that.
Adjusted for that.
John is a 5-point favorite. John is 6-4 in the last 10. I got to go. I'm gonna pump John back up. Bet on your friends. Bet on yourself. Bet on your friends. I got to go John Thompson.
I don't think it's the wrong decision in this matchup. You know, John needs some bounce back power here, and I think this week he delivers.
So you're picking John. Just so
I got
Drew's
Drew. I am picking John. John Thompson. That is if Jeff Bottom, Grief Top.
Thank you.
John, who are you taking?
No, let Matt go.
Out of all the teams in that division, Tim Lang has had the most pop. I mean, he's got some roller coaster to him. I think he bounces back here. I'm taking Tim Lang.
Mean Gene. Woo! Let me tell you something, brother. We had a little bit of a hiccup last week when we got bull rushed by the Heart Attack. But we ain't going to get beat by anybody with the name Heart in it 2 times in a row. Because there's one thing that's for sure. Diamonds are forever, and so is Jeff Bottom Grieve Top. That's right. Jeff Bottom Grieve Top dominates the little bitch known as Tim Lang. Who cares what the point score is? We're going to win. He's going to lose. We're getting the ball. We're going to score. Screw him. Woo!
All right.
So
Wow.
Drew, that was John picking himself.
I think.
In emphatic fashion. Nicely done.
Wonderful. Speaking of Drew, the Dumpster Fire is taking on Team Aponte. Max is a 2-point favorite. Might as well be a pick'em. Drew is 1-4 in his last 5 against the Team Aponte. We're gonna go with Maddie. Who are you going first in this one?
If I had any idea what was going to happen with Melvin Gordon, that would direct this decision.
Yep.
They're on a bye. They're on a bye. So.
Oh, they are.
They are.
All right.
So Philip Rivers is out as well.
Okay. Well, I'm going to take Max Aponte. Team Aponte.
All right, Derek.
I still like Drew's depth And like I said, Mitch Trubisky is a potential starting quarterback in fantasy football now. So despite Phillip Rivers being out, he still has players. I go with the dumpster fire himself, Drew Vogt.
Love it. I'm going to just piggyback off there. I think kissing titties. Mitch Trubisky is he's legit right now. I don't care who the Bears are playing this week. Patriots?
That was last week.
Last week. Somebody good, I think, again. But I think
Jets.
Oh, fuck.
Jets.
There we go.
Jets,
There we go.
Jets.
I got to go dumpster fire. Fire by 14.
Wow.
Well, I don't know why he hasn't put Cooper Kupp in as his flex against the Packers because they are going to make the Packers their bitch this week.
He
And
doesn't
there's
set his
going to be
lineups on
some
a Tuesday.
big points
It's early.
scored.
And he's
So
questionable.
I'm picking, and I don't want Max to win. The more that everybody can beat my rivals, the better. So, Drew, do what you do best. Well, that's sucking. So hold on, let me rephrase that. Win one for the Gipper, man. Come on, let's go. Do this. Dumpster fire over Team Aponte, the Puerto Rican assassin.
All right. So we have 3 for the dumpster fire, which might be the most. Well, no, he had that.
He's getting hot.
He is getting hot.
Yeah.
I really don't. He must have something in the hopper for tonight because Cooper Kupp is expected to score a lot of points against the Packers, and he has got him on his bench. So
It's early,
It's
John.
too- Tuesday. He doesn't look at this shit until at least Thursday mid-afternoon.
No, because he had Melvin Gordon in, and now he has Chris Thompson in already, and he's already flipped all his wide receivers. So he has looked at this.
All right. Looks like he's
So
been active.
he's got something.
Looks like
going.
he's got about seven moves too, coming through. I would guess to get that team back put together.
Yep,
All right.
He's got something.
In a Derek had to leave the room because clearly he's scared to talk about this. The hottest team in the Busch League right now, win streak of 3, 0-3 to 3-4. We coming. We have Dave Pike as a 23-point underdog right now against Who's Your Daddy.
That's the biggest spread of the week.
It is the biggest spread of the week. Both of us got a lot of pending moves coming. It's going to be exciting to see that waiver wire. But as I said before, bet on yourselves, bet on your friends. I'm betting on myself this time. Dave.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Let's start with Johnny here. You picked me 3 weeks in a row to win.
I know, and you
I've
have.
delivered.
That's the crazy. Derek, it's not that I don't think you can win, because I think you can. And Dave actually has all his peeps back, so it's gonna be a good one.
23-point favorite, John.
I know.
23.
Easy to come up with those type points.
And it's Denver versus Kansas City, and you have 1, 2, 3,
Yep.
4, 5 players going that game. I'm gonna
Top
I-
defense versus top
You've doubted the
offense.
Chiefs all year long.
I
You're still
know,
going to
I know.
continue to do
Fault.
that?
Where's that game at? Is that at Mile High?
It's at Mile High.
Oh,
That changes things.
that's a mile above sea level, Derek.
Huck that
That
pigskin.
changes things. I'm gonna go with the upset, Dave. I'm gonna go
Attaboy.
with it. Not that it's gonna happen, but I'm gonna pick him anyway.
That 23-point spread is probably going to be about 28 by the time Derek gets a new defense in there because he is definitely not going to play the Broncos defense against Kansas City.
Of course not.
So I'm
I would.
I'm rolling with Derek.
Thank you.
Right. Matt also hasn't picked me the last 3 weeks, and he's been wrong.
I have picked you some, Dave, but it's definitely not going to happen
Well, I already
today.
said you got to bet on yourself.
23. I think I win by 35.
I definitely picked you one of the weeks because one week everybody picked you.
To beat Jeff.
Oh, to beat Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that was probably a big dagger to him too when he was listening.
Yeah.
Jeff made it very clear after our trade he no longer listens to the podcast.
Nice.
He can't take the ridicule. He can't do it.
Hey, I don't blame spoiled.
Yeah, I mean, I would really like to do a behind-the-scenes interview with him to see what his mindset was in that whole trade, because it's very one-sided, if you ask me.
Didn't care for it from Jeff's standpoint.
Well, I mean, Jeff looked at it as he was getting rid of Kamara, which at the time was his carries were cut into a third of what they were the week before because Ingram was back, and to deal that guy out was a benefit for him. And Derek took a chance on him, and I mean, it might have been a bad guess, just like you did with the tight ends last week, but I think the trade was fair.
I could see why Jeff was panicking in some sense about his quarterback spot, but he paid a large price for Matt Ryan, who was having a great year. But essentially Mike Evans and Emmanuel Sanders cancel each other out, and
Correct.
Emmanuel Sanders might even be better.
On a week-by-week basis.
He released Hines immediately, so that didn't impact the trade. So it essentially was Matt Ryan for Alvin Kamara,
Yep.
which is why I said, yes, let's do
Right.
this.
20 for 20. All right, Matt, do you want to run through the updated playoff standings going into Week 8?
Hey, did we pick Jeff versus Trevor?
Nope, we'll do that one. We were just going to throw that one out.
Because I was looking, I'm like, oh, Julio's on bye, but I don't think we talked about that.
It's underneath my little microphone stand here. So we got the 4-3, 2 Gurley's, 1 Cup. Still don't know why he hasn't changed the name because Gurley's not on his team. Versus the Soup of the Day, who is at 5-2. Trevor's a 9-point favorite. Trevor's has won 3 of the last 5, and it's going to be 4 of the last 6.
I don't disagree with you, Dave. Not necessarily because I'm confident in Trevor's team because it is so up and down, but with the Falcons on bye this week, I don't feel great about Jeff's squad, and so I picked Trevor.
I think that Jeff might be looking for Kirk Cousins to be inserted into that lineup eventually here this week too.
Yeah, he's got a lot of firepower in his lineup that's on bye, unfortunately. So I'm going Trev.
No explanation needed, Trevor.
Beauty. See, we all knew it was going to be a Trevor pick. Drew would have
Yeah, we
figured
should
that out.
have just did that in the first place.
All right, let's hop into those playoff standings because they do matter. We're at Week 7. We have 5 weeks remaining in the regular season. And then we'll hop into some playoffs. But where are we at, Matt?
Well, we got Hartman in the top spot, taking the number 1 seed, 5-2, holding out the lead against Trevor, who's also 5-2, but with a pretty commanding lead in points. It's about a 130-point edge for Hartman right now. So as long as he keeps winning, he'll keep a hold of that spot.
John, what are your...
You just wait, Trevor. When you beat and you're 2-0 against Adam, and it comes playoff time, don't come crying to me when you voted to keep it this way.
He did too.
Okay?
He did too. He didn't
Brother,
like conflict.
Listen here, because you getting so mad. Trevor, you jabroni. You could have changed this. You could be ahead of Adam right now, but no. You had to vote for points as the tiebreaker, and you're going to be 2-0 going into the last week, and you are not going to make the playoffs because you're an idiot. Because if you think that having the tiebreaker as points is stupid over wins and losses, give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah!
Thank you. Because it is stupid. And that's because John Thompson said so. The end. Done talking about it.
So Hartman in the number 1 seed. He's got Trevor nipping on his heels. Jeff King in the number 2 spot with a 4-3 record, leading the Mankato division, 125 points a game.
It's a bad division.
Jeff's going to limp into the playoffs.
It is. Hey, still in points, about 20 points behind Hartman at this point. So, and that's based on dominant start to the season.
I mean, I'm just saying he's going to be 500 and make it in because the rest of his team's going to be well below.
That could also happen. Derek Hartman coming in the 3rd spot, leading the junior division, trailing Jeff by about 50 points.
We're coming.
Also 4-3. John Thompson with the number 4 seed coming out of the junior division. 3-4 record. 3-4 record and about 100 points behind any other team that's currently in a playoff position. So,
yeah,
good job there.
Well, thank you. What's your record? And if I'm looking at it correctly, you have only scored 16 more points than me all year. So shut the hell up. And your record shows for it.
That's true.
John, you're a winner. It's about the little guys every week.
I will take your ass to Know Your Role Boulevard and Smackdown Drive, you son of a bitch.
Bring it.
Somebody watched Monday Night Raw last night.
I did.
Trevor Sapir with the first wild card spot at 5-2, feeling pretty comfortable with a game lead and a pretty strong points position. And then the last member of the seniors division, that's all 3 members of the seniors division currently in playoff positioning. Phil Bastron coming up in the 6th spot at 4-3.
In the Carroll House division, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, senior division's
Senior
pretty
division's
terrible.
not.
No,
They're not getting the wild card.
Not bad.
We're horrible this year. We're awful.
Outside looking in, Drew Vogt.
Drew Vogt, yeah, sitting at 4-3.
That's a strong team, yeah.
It is, and about 44 points looking up to Phil right now. He gets Melvin Gordon healthy. That'll be that 5, 6, 7 spot will be one to watch.
Yeah, and
Derek, have you and Drew played yet this year?
we have not. We have 2 matchups coming.
Okay,
They will be big.
Drew, word to the wise. Same thing to you, you giant dickhead. You are going to regret voting for this stupid rule when you somehow magically defeat Derek twice this year.
I think when we see our records versus each other, we'll realize that's not going to happen.
I'm just saying, he's going to regret it when it happens.
All right. I agree with you, John. But
thank you.
One quick question, Matt.
Yeah.
What is Soup's 21 points behind? He should just be at 0 there, right? Because he can't move into a higher wild card spot.
So the points back and the games back is all relative to the 6th position, which is not technically correct because Hartman is probably. I mean, he's also chasing Hartman from a games back and points back standpoint. But he is 21 points back from the total points scored by Phil.
But okay.
So if they had an even record,
know.
Phil would have the advantage.
But he doesn't currently.
Right.
All right. Well, that was a live playoff look-in. 5
Coming
weeks
down the
to go.
stretch here.
We got a lot of conference matchups coming up. A lot of, John's getting. They said the commission said that they got too rowdy at the last one, so they got to move both matchups up to the middle of the season, so that people are not having bad Christmases, not talking to each other on New Year's. We get it.
Shocking.
But
Putin did something without asking everybody else.
Weird. He took away the rivalry game out of the last game of the year.
Zero to do with that.
Which everybody loved. Gone.
What are we talking about?
I will take that away from you. We don't
we should be
schedule the
used to it.
rivalry game for the end of the year like
Which
we always
rivalry
had.
game?
I just can't
My
believe I'm
biggest
already
rival.
playing Tim 2
Everybody's
weeks
got a rival.
after I just played him.
It happens.
Right?
It's weird.
Yeah, all your divisional games are stuffed into the last 6 weeks, and you have 4 divisional games.
Okay, all
So
right.
by definition,
What is happening?
Don't know.
Russia's taking over. Matt sent the signal.
still making sound. No, but even when you pull it.
Yep, so,
Thanks
yeah,
a lot.
right.
Hey, there you go.
Russia's infiltrating.
Oh,
Russia's infiltrating.
Thank you guys.
Putin, what did you do?
yeah.
Matt's kicking cords.
Those are my. You guys start talking shit, so.
Yep.
My cronies are making sure that's the
Matt
end of this
said if he
podcast.
steps on my cord underneath the table that it makes it go
Right.
longer. So.
What did you say about me?
All right, well, another great week coming up here. We got Gophers on Friday night against Indiana. Should be fun. Look for Derek and I in the stands, as always.
Hell yeah.
Everybody else, have a wonderful weekend, and we love you guys.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.